Some people might say that Jesus could have deliberately fulfilled prophecies that there were in the Old Testament, and that's why it looks like there's a coincidence between his life and those texts. That can work to a certain extent. For instance, the story or the text in Zechariah 9, which says that there's going to be one coming on a donkey. That would be something that Jesus could read and then decide to do. But having said that, that doesn't really explain everything, because even with that case, there's no way that you can have simply the fact that you take a donkey create a great crowd scene in which people are welcoming you into Jerusalem as the great deliverer. If I took a donkey at somewhere, or if we'd lived 2,000 years ago near Jerusalem and rode in on a donkey, I don't think the crowds would have welcomed us. They only welcome someone when they've already established themselves as someone likely to be a deliverer. So even in those cases, I don't think it really explains it. And then I think we have a different sort of text where we have texts in the Old Testament that are quite mysterious without Jesus. So in Zechariah 12 verse 10, you have this text which is most naturally translated God speaking, saying, "They will look on me, the one that they have pierced." And that's very strange as a text to have. The Almighty God of the Old Testament saying that people will have pierced him. And yet when you get to the New Testament and you say, if Jesus is identified as that God, then yes, it does make sense. So there are texts like that which Jesus makes sense of. Another one would be Isaiah chapter 53, where it's got this figure who has who dies, and then it describes him existing afterwards. And you might say, well, isn't the death metaphorical? Well, there are 5 different expressions saying this figure dies, including having a grave, and then existing afterwards. Now, it's not that you would necessarily read that text and you think you have to have Jesus, but rather when Jesus comes along, it makes sense of what that text is. Another well-known text that's often read at Christmas time is the text that says, unto us a son is born, unto us a son is given, the government will be on his shoulders, and his name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God. And that's really bizarre to have in a context of Jews who only believe there is one God, a text that's saying Mighty God is going to be born. Very strange, but Jesus makes sense of it.